Well, hello. This is a bookish piece of content here. So, on May 10, 2024, which has been a while, I was going to do this video on that day, but I couldn't because it took longer to make it than I expected it. Making it meaning making the slides. So, these are the top 10 most gifted books on Amazon. On Amazon. I thought this would be interesting and fun to look at. So, this is a Fox note. I thought most gifted sounds interesting to look at. What are people getting other people? What's hot these days? I'll be reacting to the cover, reading some of the blurb, maybe give my comments, interest level, etc. Thoughts, whatever. Oh boy, this text is so hard to read. Why did I choose these colors? Tell me, right now, a book you recently gifted someone. Have you gifted a book to anyone recently? I want to know. Right now. Go on, comment. I'll be waiting. What is that waiting sound? Dee doot, dee doot, dee doot, dee doot. Have you commented? All right, moving on. So, the first most gifted book at the time of May 10, 2024. And this is most gifted also in science fiction and fantasy. It is Daughter of No Worlds, The War of Lost Hearts, Volume 1 by Carissa Broadbent. Okay. And this is the hardcover. Let's see. I think it looks, I don't know. When I see like a title that says Daughter of, I'm like, I don't know. I just don't have much interest in titles that have like daughter or son in it. That's a me thing. Especially, and also when the title has the word no in it. Or like, what was it? The Queen or King of Nothing. I don't know. I mean, it just feels off-putting to me. The cover is pretty. The art is pretty. I don't know. Title doesn't really draw me in. Let's read the blurb. I just did a video of Fox and Thoughts, week 5, if you want to check it out. If it's already up, when this is up. On blurbs, and this blurb seems kind of long, and I know blurb people in Facebook writing groups would say it's too long, but I mean it's telling, so thinking blurb people's comments might not matter so much. Anyway, a life in slavery taught to Sana. I'm just going to read it how I would read it. How to survive with nothing but a sharp eye, a quick mind, and a touch of magic. But the night of slavery, how to survive with nothing but a sharp eye, a quick mind, and a touch of magic. But the night she tried to buy her freedom, she nearly paid with her life. Instead, she murdered the most powerful man in Thrall. The night she tried to buy her freedom, she nearly paid with her life. Instead, I don't know why this is instead. Doesn't make sense why it's instead. Forced to flee, she has only one chance at saving those she left behind. Pledging herself to the Orders, an organization of magic wielders, strong enough to destroy her former masters. Wielders is a capital W. To earn her place, Tisana is forced into an apprentice. I have a hard time saying this word. Apprenticeship with these names are really getting me, guys. Maxantarius Farleone. Farleone. A handsome... it should have just been... his name should be like Max Farr or something. No, I'm not saying it should be, but... a handsome and reclusive fire wielder who despises the orders. He has no interest in helping her. She pledges herself to the orders although she pledges herself to the orders, but then she has to train under a guy who despises the orders. Interesting. He has no interest in helping her, but as the orders' grip tightens around them both, his bloody past may be the key to her future, or their downfall. Their downfall? Whose downfall? His bloody past may be the key to her future or her downfall, no? No. Under looming war, Tisana must master her magic and survive the order's demands. It should have been apostrophe as... oops. And as her feelings for Maxantarius deepen, she is forced to decide how much she is willing to trade away for revenge. The orders have bigger plans for Tisana, darker plans, but Tisana will stop at nothing to save those she abandoned. Who does she abandon? Even if it means forfeiting her freedom and sacrificing her heart, even if it means wielding death itself. I'm not sure how she will wield death itself, unless that's capital death. I don't know. It sounds like a lot of... Is there going to be some chemistry between Tisana and Maxantarius is what I want to know. If they're saying that he's handsome, so there's probably going to be some romance in this. Potentially this is the most gifted book because maybe it was on TikTok. I don't know. I'm not on TikTok. I wouldn't know. So Tisana and Maxantarius are both in the order. Maxantarius despises the order, yet he's still in it. Oh yeah, it does say as her feelings for Maxantarius deepen. So they are falling in love here, right? Forced to decide how much she is willing to trade away for revenge. Revenge on who? This most powerful man in Thrall is like, is where this is taking place? The orders have bigger plans for Tisana, darker plans. Nothing about that, but in terms of my interests, it just seems like, I mean, this is a personal preference thing. It just seems like any other dark romantasy out there, but I don't know, maybe it's exciting. I mean, a lot of people seem to think it's exciting. And it's volume 1, so I'm guessing maybe, I'm hoping that there's going to be some twists. Are those hearts or little Mickey Mouses on the cover? I can't unsee the little Mickey Mouse in the left corner. I know it's not, but it looks like to me. Forfeiting her freedom and sacrificing her heart, even if it means wielding death itself, doesn't really make sense to me. I mean, I don't know. I don't think I will. I don't think I would check out this book. Personally, I wouldn't check out this book. I'm not really interested in books that have the words like daughter or son in them. I'm not particularly interested in, it says daughter of no worlds. It doesn't really make sense to me or intrigue me. Saying no, having the word no or some kind of negative thing in the title isn't really my thing. Unless it's like a rom-com or something like that, then it might be kind of funny. But for fantasy, I want it to be like a fantasy-esque title. I don't know. It just feels like there could have been a little bit more, in my opinion, so I'm not interested in it. I don't know. Maybe you guys are interested in it, and that's your opinion, and that's fine. It's the most gifted science fiction and fantasy novel, so I mean, maybe there's something good about it that I'm just not seeing right now. Carissa Broadbent. That is some interesting name. Okay, so this is kind of interesting because the second most gifted book is in occult, religion, and spirituality category on Amazon. This is a paperback of the Goetia, the Lesser King of Solomon the King, translated by Samuel Little and MacGregor Mathers. With an introduction by Aleister Crowley. And this is the paperback. I thought, this is the second one. It's the most gifted book on Amazon on May 10, 2024. The second most gifted one is this. I thought, that is very interesting. Why? What is it? Interesting. Is this, I don't know how to interpret that. Provides a clear and detailed account of the preparations and precautions necessary for the successful evocation of its 72 spirits, which are described in detail. Includes Crowley's uninitiated interpretation of ceremonial magic, his version of the Bornless ritual, Enochian translations of some of the Goetic invocations, an introduction and notes, illustrated, Smithsonian, and printed on acid-free paper. So, Smithsonian, what is that? Publication date, December 1, 1995, so it's a pretty old book. It's 134 pages and it's in English. Maybe there's a rise in people who are practicing ceremonial magic, and that's why this book is being gifted so much. This is interesting, number 2. This is a very interesting number 2, I would say. By the way, if you're confused, oh wait, what is this weird currency situation that is going on the screen? I live in Japan, so it's going to be in yen. In case you were wondering. I did a hand gesture, but you didn't see that. So the third most gifted book was in a romance, and this is in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. It's the final book of the series, called A Curse for True Love, by Stephanie Garber, and this is the most gifted. And I'm guessing it's the most gifted because there are a lot of people who have been reading Once Upon a Broken Heart, and the next book, I forgot what it was called, and they want to gift them the final book. So I have a Once Upon a Broken Heart up here on the screen. It has a different cover than A Curse for True Love. I don't know. I couldn't find a Once Upon a Broken Heart cover on Amazon that is like the one for A Curse for True Love. I don't know why. Does it exist? Or maybe it just doesn't exist. I don't know. Anyway. So I didn't put the blurb for A Curse for True Love just in case there are some people who don't want to be spoiled. So Once Upon a Broken Heart blurb is here. It says, marks the launch of a new series from Stephanie Garber about love, curses, and the lengths that people will go to for happily ever after. For as long as she can remember, Evangeline Fox has believed in true love and happy endings until she learns that the love of her life will marry another. Desperate to stop the wedding to heal her wounded heart, Evangeline strikes a deal with the charismatic but wicked Prince of Hearts. In exchange for his help, he asks for 3 kisses to be given at the time and place of his choosing. But after Evangeline's first promised kiss, she learns that bargaining with an immortal is a dangerous game, and that the Prince of Hearts wants far more from her than she'd pledged. He has plans for Evangeline, plans that will either end in the greatest happily ever after or the most exquisite tragedy. Interesting. Reading this blurb. Interesting. Because I was reading other blurbs before in a different video, and I was thinking, it seems like they tell something about the character and where they are and where they stand in the beginning. But this one is a little bit different. A little bit different in my opinion anyway. You probably don't know what I'm talking about because you haven't watched the other video, or if you have, you probably still don't know what I'm talking about. Am I interested in the Once Upon a Broken Heart series? Not really. I don't really read, like, romance things, much. Occasionally I like rom-com like Sophie Kinsella, but not really other like fantasy, like romantasy. I'm not a big romantasy person. But sometimes depends. I mean, I don't know. I also don't really like getting into extremely hyped books because I don't know if I can trust that because I've been fooled before. I've been fooled before by the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I thought it was going to be awesome, but it just annoyed me to the core. Um, if you want to know how and why it annoyed me to the core, you can go look at a video titled Books That Drove Me Crazy and see why. So will I read this book? No, I wouldn't, and I wouldn't buy it, but it seems to be pretty popular, and so I guess people who like romantasy, check it out, maybe. So that is the third most gifted book on Amazon, which is also the first most gifted book in the romance category. And it's interesting that it's in the romance category, even though it is still a fantasy. I think Amazon should have a romantasy category at this point. They really need it because it's really on the rise, isn't it? It's been on the rise for a while. It's romantasy genre. Why isn't the screen moving? Oh, if you look at my screen right now, there's a bunch of watermelons with hearts in the background. Oops, there's nothing in the background over here. Most gifted in fantasy, futuristic, and ghost romance. Look, I didn't know there was this category. Ghost romance? Don't they mean paranormal romance? Maybe they changed it to ghost romance at some point. But what's the difference between saying ghost romance and paranormal romance? Anyway, this is the fourth most gifted book on Amazon on May 10, 2024. And it is the number one most gifted in fantasy, futuristic, and ghost romance. It's Fall of Ruin and Wrath by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Armentrout. I like that name. Jennifer L. Armentrout. It's the hardcover. Let's see. From the number one New York Times bestselling author of From Blood and Ash, Fall of Ruin and Wrath is a scorching romance with high stakes, breathtaking magic, and a searing enemies to lovers romance. They talked about romance twice, so a scorching romance with high stakes and a searing enemies to lovers romance. I'm guessing the enemies to lovers romance is a scorching romance with high stakes. I don't know why you needed to mention it twice. Let's see. She lives by her intuition. He feeds on her pleasure. ... Okay. The moment I see the word pleasure, I'm like, I don't think this is for me. So I'm probably not going to read it or gift it to anybody. Unless I know somebody who likes that sort of stuff. But long ago, the world was destroyed by gods. Only 9 cities are spared, separated by vast wilderness teeming with monsters and unimaginable dangers. Each city is now ruled by a guardian, royalty who feed on mortal pleasure. Interesting. So this blurb begins with a world-building bit. Born with an intuition that never fails, Callista knows her talents are of great value to the power-hungry of the world, so she lives hidden as a courtesan of the Baron of Archwood. In exchange for his protection, she grants him information. When her intuition leads her to save a traveling prince in dire trouble, the voice inside her blazes with warning and a promise. Today he'll bring her joy. One day he'll be her doom. Interested. Interesting in the sense that not that I'm curious, but that it went in this direction. When the Baron takes an interest in the prince and the prince takes an interest in Callista, she becomes the latter's temporary companion. But the city simmers with rebellion, and with knights and monsters at her city gates and a hungry prince in her bed. Okay, intuition may not be enough to keep her safe. Callista must choose. Follow her intuition to safety or follow her heart to her downfall. Okay, so is this prince one of the royalty who feed on mortal pleasure? Because it's sounding like that. This is interesting. How is this ghost romance, though? Why is it in this category? I don't get it. It's the most gifted in that category. I don't know how it's enemies to lovers, because it doesn't sound like enemies to lovers at this point. It does sound like it could be a scorching romance with high stakes, but I don't know about enemies to lovers. I didn't really get anything from that from the blurb. Maybe it's just not in the blurb. Anyway, The Fall of Ruin and Wrath. Personally, I wouldn't buy it because it's seems to be, like really heavy, like romancy things. It makes me uncomfortable to read it. I mean, I don't mind its existence or anything, but it just makes me uncomfortable to read it. I'd rather things just fade to black. So yeah, not for me, but maybe it might be for you. Maybe you'll be interested. Maybe you want someone to gift it to you, and you can go hint at them. Hint that you want this book, and maybe they will gift it to you. Okay, so understandably, Dune, movie tie-in book. Number 5, most gifted. I was surprised that it was number 5. I guess it's sort of popularity is kind of dwindling down a little bit. It is the number 1 most gifted in the science fiction category, however. This is the Dune movie tie-in and paperback. Frank Herbert's classic masterpiece, a triumph of the imagination and one of the best-selling science fiction novels of all time. Set on the desert planet Arrakis, Dune is the story of Paul... these names. Atreides. I didn't watch the movie, okay? Forgive me. I did not watch the movie, so I don't know how to say the names. Paul Atreides, who would become known as Muad'Dib, and of the great family's ambition to bring to fruition humankind's most ancient and unattainable dream. A stunning blend of adventure and mysticism, environmentalism and politics, Dune won the first Nebula Award, shared the Hugo Award, and formed the basis of what is undoubtedly the greatest epic in science fiction. Okay, so this blurb is really, people who know Dune, you know what you're going in for. You know what you're getting already, so we don't have to go into the actual blurb for Dune, because this is the movie tie-in book. You already know what you're getting. So I guess people who are fans of Dune and Frank Herbert and the movies and everything would really love to get their hands on this book to add to part of their collection, even if they've already have read it. So that's why I'm guessing it's the most gifted in science fiction, and also number 5 on this list. Will I ever read Dune? I don't know. Maybe someday. I mean, it's a pretty big, thick series, isn't it? Maybe. Who knows? I haven't even read Lord of the Rings, so... I mean... I have an incredibly long TBR. I need to get through it first, and then add things like this. So, the next book is... Before the Coffee Gets Cold. This is a book, translated book. Okay, so I am from Japan, right? I don't know if I didn't hear about this book until I saw its translated version. And when I saw its translated version, I thought that it was some person with a Japanese name who can speak fluent English had written this book in English. So I didn't know that it was actually a translated book. So I actually didn't know about this book at all. I should have, because I like coffee and this book has a cat on it. But anyway, the million-copy best-selling series about a small Japanese cafe that offers its visitors a chance to travel back in time. So this book says it's the number 1 bestseller, but doesn't say if it's most gifted in what genre despite being on this list. So it's just the most gifted. I don't know if it's across genres or what. So this type of premise, I guess you could say, about some place, some cafe or restaurant or whatever, offering its visitors a chance to travel back in time is kind of it's kind of done a lot actually in Japan. I don't know if it's done a lot in the States or anything, but I've read plenty of books in which it's a restaurant or a place or a shop where characters go and they can um, connect to their past, or they're actually ghosts and they want to move on and they find forgiveness, or they reconnect with old friends, or they get their wishes granted. It's kind of a common type of, I guess, what, trope? I don't know. But it's like the strangers going to a cafe and being heartwarming. It is not a new thing here. I guess this one just became very popular because it was translated. I don't know. And it's interesting that this is the #1 bestseller in self-help and psychology humor. I didn't even know that was a genre. Toshikazu Kawaguchi's movie Moving Before the Coffee Gets Cold, translated from Japanese by Jeffrey Trouselot, explores the age-old question, what would you do if you could travel back in time? More importantly, who would you want to meet, maybe for one last time? In a small back alley in Tokyo, there is a cafe which has been serving carefully brewed coffee for more than 100 years. But this coffee shop offers its customers a unique experience, the chance to travel back in time. You see, I've seen this premise done so many times in manga and in other books. So it's not an unusual type of story for me. It's interesting that this particular book became popular. Just interesting to me. I don't know. It's just when I first heard about this book, I was like, oh, that kind of story. Okay. There's even been a movie of not this book, but of a similar kind of story. People going to some cafe or restaurant or somewhere, and then they are either able to see their past, or they are able to find out or apologize to people, and being all heartwarming and friendship and family and all that good stuff, and retrieving lost memories and things like that. So it's not an unusual thing. I don't know why it became so popular. It's interesting. In Before the Coffee Gets Cold, we meet 4 visitors, each of whom is hoping to make use of the cafe's time-traveling offer in order to confront the man who left them, receive a letter from their husband whose memory has been taken by Alzheimer's, see their sister one last time, and meet the third and never got the chance to know. But the journey into the past does not come without risk. Customers must sit in a particular seat, they cannot leave the cafe, and finally, they must return to the present before the coffee gets cold. I see. Yeah, it's kind of, I don't know, it's not an unusual story for me. That's just the thing. I don't know. It's just interesting that this particular one became popular. And so 7 and 8 is Most Gifted in Literary Fiction, Tales from the Cafe, Book 2. And then number 8, Most Gifted, doesn't say what genre that it's most gifted in, but it is number 8 on the most gifted list overall, I guess. Before Your Memory Phase. I guess that's the 3rd book or the 1st book. I don't know. Anyway, has a cat in it. Why did I not know about this book in its Japanese version? I feel like I've only heard about this book once it was translated, which is interesting because I'd been following recent popular Japanese books, but I don't know if I've seen this one or I noticed it or it stood out to me. Maybe there wasn't a cat on it until it was translated. Who knows? Okay, so the 9th one is the second most gifted in fantasy, futuristic, and ghost romance. So here we go with the ghost romance again. Spark of the Everflame, The Kindred's Curse Saga, Book 1. Okay. Interesting cover. It's a silhouette of a woman with a burning forest on the silhouette, and there's also some kind of orange smoky stuff going on behind her. When old secrets catch fire, everything will burn. Huh. Interesting tagline. Everything. Everything. What is everything? In a mortal world colonized by the gods and ruled over by the descended, their cruel offspring, Diem Bellator, yearns to escape the insular life of her poor village. Her mother's sudden disappearance and the discovery of a dangerous secret about her past offer Diem, is it Diem or Diem? Offer Diem an unexpected opportunity to enter the dark world of descended royalty and unlock the web of mysteries her mother left behind. Okay. This ruled over by the descended. Okay. With the dying king's handsome, mysterious heir watching her every move, and a ruthless mortal alliance recruiting her to join the growing civil war, Diem will have to navigate the unwritten rules of love, power, and politics in order to save her family and all of mortal kind. Okay. Spark of the Everflame is the first book in the Kindred Curse saga, a 4-book epic fantasy romance series that follows our feisty, badass heroine. Badass is kind of has a little asterisk to cover it. Cover the A, but we all know what it says. Heroine Dame Bellator in her fight against injustice and oppression, her struggle to survive in a royal palace. Wait. Hold on. A 4-book epic fantasy romance series that follows our feisty badass heroine Dame Bellator in her fight against injustice and oppression, her struggle to survive in the royal palace full of betrayal and intrigue, and her journey of self-discovery and finding true love. This slow burn enemies to lovers series. Why do you have to reveal that it's enemies to lovers? I don't want to know that yet. This slow burn enemies to lovers series is perfect for fans of unique magic system, dragons, and other mystical creatures, angst and romance, tension, and hilarious banter. Why couldn't you just said this slow burn series is perfect for fans of unique magic systems? You just don't mention its enemies to lovers. Couldn't you have done that? I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. This book will appeal to fans of plot-heavy, character-driven romantasy such as A Court of Thorns and Roses, Throne of Glass, From Blood and Ash, Guild, Shadow and Bone, and The Serpent and the Wings of Night. Shadow and Bone is in the list, and I am not sure about it already. If you know what I have against Shadow and Bone. Content warning and parentheses may include spoilers. It's good to have content warning, I guess. I don't know. Death, including on-page child death, references to SA off-page, brief thoughts of suicide, violence, sex, swearing. This book contains adult themes and is intended for readers 18+. This book ends in a cliffhanger. Why did you have to say that it ends in a cliffhanger? I don't think you needed to say that. Is this book self-published or is it what is it? Why did you have to say that at the end? I don't think you had to say that. Couldn't you have said this book contains adult themes and is intended for readers 18+? That's just that as content warning. I mean, that's good to add in. There was a book that I got that didn't have that in it, and then I got it, and that was like, there is so much rape in this book. It was awful, and there was nothing on the blurb that indicated that would be the case, and I really regretted getting that book. It just was not for me. I did read it all the way through, though, because I wanted to review the full of it. I wanted to review it fully. Yes, that's what I wanted to say. Anyway, this book, am I interested? I don't know. Not particularly. I mean, I'm not a romantasy person, as I said. I don't know. Probably not. And the way this book is trying to market itself as comparing itself to all these popular titles, why did it need to do that? I mean, I don't even know why some books feel like they need to do that. Can't they feel confident on their own? Like, why do you, I mean, I haven't read A Court of Thorns and Roses, Throne of Glass, From Blood and Ash, Guild, and The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I haven't read those books. I've only read Shadow and Bone, and when I think of Shadow and Bone, I think of heavy world building and annoying characters. Um, so it doesn't really make me want to read this book particularly. Also, when I see with the dying king's handsome mysterious heir watching her every move, that sounds very stalkery. Maybe some people like this book. I mean, it's the 9th most gifted book. I guess is very interesting for some people. It's by Penn Cole. Maybe Penn Cole actually has something going on here. So many people like this book. There's been a whole bunch of reviews, 10,000 reviews actually, almost 5 stars, which is pretty good. So maybe for people who like romantasy with adult themed romantasy, really enjoy this book. I'm just saying it's not for me, and I'm just saying, why did you have to say this book ends in a cliffhanger? Why did you have to say it's enemies to lovers? I didn't want to know that yet, but I mean, it's not for me. So it's for many other people, and they're doing fine without me. Drinking coffee. Now this is the top 10. So the next one is the last one, most gifted, on May 10, 2024, because I'm pretty sure it's changed now. So this last one is interesting. It's written by an author named Priest. That's all. This is the second book, seems like. Guardian Shen. I think it's Shen, right? Zhen. It's a, like, what, Chinese name or something? Zhen Hun. I'm trying. Okay, I'm trying. The Sleeping God Stirs. Oh, that is a good tagline, actually. I'm like, oh, the Sleeping God Stirs. Interesting. It's the first one that I thought, oh, interesting. So this is the second one. I guess I should have put the first one here, but anyway, as snow quietly covers Dragon City in the final days of the lunar year, patients writhing in pain flock to the hospital. Baffled doctors call upon Zhao Yunlan. I'm really trying, okay? I'm trying. And his team for help. As the case unfolds, Shen Wei and Zhao Yunlan discover that one of the 4 hollowed artifacts, the Merit Brush, has disappeared in the mortal realm. In the wrong hands, its power can be transformative. While each step toward the artifact only pulls the pair deeper into a vortex of mysteries, Zhao Yunlan keeps stumbling upon a name, Kunlun. Who is Kunlun, and what is his connection to the Merit Brush? As Zhao Yunlan closes in on the answer, will he also uncover the truth behind Shen Wei's knowing gaze? It sounds interesting. I'm guessing that this is, it doesn't say the most gifted that genre is listed in. I'm guessing from the cover that this is a graphic novel. It's paperback. And it's saying, my thing is in Japanese, but it says Priest is a writer, Ying is the illustrator, and Marmaladika is also an illustrator. So I'm guessing that this is a graphic novel. And although only 91 people have reviewed this book and rated this book, it's got almost 5 stars, so I guess it's pretty good. And since this is the second book, I would think that maybe the first book was also quite good, based on this second book being the most gifted. So that is that. That's the top 10. I think I bumped my mic again. I have to stop doing that. So that is the end. So which ones do you want? What are your favorite genres? I think for me, if I would get any of these books, I would get the Coffee Gets Cold book, the original one in Japanese. I wouldn't mind reading the translated one, but I would have to order this from Amazon to get the translated one. And since I can read Japanese, I think I'd like to read the original first. Yes, so I would get that one, and I don't know. Yeah, that's probably the only one that I would get, honestly. Um, hmm. Interesting, huh? I find it most interesting that the second most gifted book on Amazon in May 10, 2024 is the Goetia. What is going on in the world? It's interesting, isn't it? So, anyway, let me know which ones that you would get or you would get for people. Tell me the book that you've gifted to someone recently. What book did you gift them? And let me know if we get any of these books. I might do another one of these. Maybe we'll see some interesting trends with books. Who knows? Let me know if you like this kind of content. If you find it interesting or not. Let me know. Hopefully this was kind of interesting and helpful. I don't know how it would be helpful, but maybe it was. So, anyway, leave your comments down below and subscribe. Like the video if you liked it. And hope you enjoyed that. Have a lovely day. You will hear me in the next video. The fox is out.